was stationed in Mena originally in 1979 because of allegations of narcotics activity at the airport. And there were smugglers here before Barry Seal. And I was pressured by the state police to monitor airplane traffic, develop sources of information, monitor whatever methods possible, fuel pumps, in numbers, to determine what kind of drug traffic may be present out there. And the airport itself is not unique to drug traffic. I think there's drug traffic everywhere. I think any airport could have a lot of it. My concern was this one. It was the one that I was assigned to, and it was the one that I was given responsibility to keep up with.
It's almost like they say about the nightclub in that movie Casablanca.
Everybody comes to Rick's.
Everybody comes to Mena. And that's kind of weird all by itself, because look at it. It's a pretty small town. It's located in pleasant hills and forested low mountains, and they're all tucked in one of the hardest to get places in the lower 48 contiguous states. Maybe that's the secret of its popularity. But Aspen it ain't. So what was everybody coming here to do? Bill Clinton was at Mena, which itself isn't sinister. He was the governor of this state. The CIA was at Mena. They finally got tired of years and years of denials and admitting running special ops out of here once. Ryan.
Another case I tried to open about the same time, not long before that, involved a person who it turns out now is well placed in CIA, had worked with Southern Air Transport in Miami, lives in El Dorado, Arkansas, was a friend of a very good friend of Buzz Sawyer, who was killed on the C-123. He had 2 smuggling aircraft at the Mena airport. I was ordered not to open an investigation on those smuggling aircraft. These are direct orders from the state police, no explanation.
Historic cocaine buccaneer Barry Seal made these runways his home, and it's no wonder.
If you look at a map, the location seems pretty nice for a trip from South America. And it is small. It's a lit airport, there's not a tower on it, so it's not monitored, so it's an ideal spot for a smuggler to be able to find at nighttime without having to worry about being recorded every time they come in and leave.
While Barry was bringing in up to $5 billion worth of cocaine into the United States of America during the 1980s, this is where he based his cargo airline.
And at that time I thought, because Barry Seal was already saying that he was involved with the CIA, and there was reason to think that there was CIA activity because of the C-123 and the knowledge that was made available then that the C-123 had made a trip to Nicaragua, that possibly Barry Seal was in fact working with the CIA somehow. And I thought I'd be able to develop that and close my case and get on with the rest of my career investigating murders, robberies, and rapes.
Everybody comes to Mena. The Barry Seal story is the secret history of the 1980s. His life and violent death were bracketed by 2 very public events. In the first, he piloted a C-123 military cargo aircraft to Nicaragua in a drug sting that was designed to be the Gulf of Tonkin incident of a U.S.-Nicaragua war.
I know every American parent concerned about the drug problem will be outraged to learn that top Nicaraguan government officials are deeply involved in drug trafficking.
This photograph, taken from the back of Barry Seal's plane, purports to show a Sandinista official, Federico Vaughn, loading cocaine onto Barry Seal's plane. In fact, Federico Vaughn worked for Oliver North. But it's this event for which Barry Seal will be remembered longest. In this, his beloved C-123 Fat Lady airplane was brought down by Sandinistas over Nicaragua with Eugene Hasenfuss on board.
Good evening. There's a furious debate going on tonight between the governments of the United States and Nicaragua, and it revolves on the question, whose cargo plane carrying ammunition to the anti-government Contras was shot down inside Nicaragua yesterday? And who were the Americans on board working for? They'd apparently flown from El Salvador. The government of Nicaragua says it is proof of direct U.S. involvement in the war. The Reagan administration says not true. Our first report is from Nicaragua, and here's ABC's Peter Collins.
The Sandinistas say the aircraft that went down was a Korean War vintage C-123.
Informed sources close to the Contras confirm this and say they have been using the aircraft to drop ammunition and supplies by parachute to their men. It crashed in remote, swampy terrain deep inside Nicaragua that can be reached only by Sandinista Air Force helicopters. The Sandinistas claim 4 Americans were aboard the plane. They say 3 were killed and 1 survived. He is identified as Eugene Hassenfuss, a Marine Corps veteran from Marinette, Wisconsin. The Sandinistas quote him as saying he was an American advisor based in El Salvador. The Sandinistas also say the plane was carrying more than 50,000 rounds of small arms ammunition, rocket grenades, other weapons, and boots.
I'm not saying it's a U.S. Army plane, but this is obviously a CIA operation with CIA operatives. Whether they are U.S. Army personnel or not is almost beside the point.
Of course, U.S. officials made the usual denial.
The people involved were not from our military, not from any U.S. government agency, and CIA included.
So this is, at least in part, just another story of U.S. government officials lying to us. But it's also something more than that, because Barry Seal wasn't just an outlaw. Barry Seal was an agent of the Central Intelligence Agency. That's right, the CI frigging A.
What is your speculation as to what you got too close to?
I don't know. It seems like the real turning point was with the FBI agents, Tom Ross and Floyd Hayes, when they obviously, when I thought they were trying to tell me of something illegal going on without telling me what to do with it, I assumed that they wanted me to monitor and investigate without being able to come up with a better explanation myself. What it turned out to be eventually was that they were telling me to ignore what was apparent illegal activity.
He's a drug smuggler, or he's a CIA agent, an outlaw, or an operative. Or maybe it's like in that famous scene in Chinatown when Jack Nicholson learns Faye Dunaway's dark secret.
She's my sister. She's my daughter. My sister, my daughter.
I said I want the truth.
She's my sister and my daughter.
Maybe he's a drug smuggler and a CIA agent. Our search for the killers of 2 murdered boys has led us into the murkier precincts of national security, to mysterious Mena in search of Barry Seal's story. Because if Mena holds the key to the train deaths, Seal holds the key to Mena. And just to make everything perfectly cozy, this man, Bill Bottoms, claims to hold the key to Seal.
The Barry Seal story is real simple. Barry Seal's organization, which I was a part of, was a transportation operation hauling drugs from Colombia to the United States. We were paid $5,000 a kilo for that transportation service. We brought the drugs to Louisiana. We airdropped the drugs into Louisiana. Barry Seal, I flew from the States down to Colombia, picked up the merchandise, flew it back to the United States, dropped it out in some remote location in Louisiana. Barry Seal met me on my return in a helicopter, which they retrieved the merchandise I dumped out. The merchandise was then immediately, it was usually 6 duffel bags, 300 kilos per trip of cocaine. 2 duffel bags were put in 3 different vehicles, 3 different automobiles in the trunks, and those cars were sent immediately. Most of the trips were sent to Miami, and there were several occasions that we sent the merchandise to Los Angeles.
Sounds so perfectly simple. Bottoms details what he calls the Mena myth.
The myth is any conspiracy story that says that Barry Seal or his organization did anything other than haul cocaine.